Last time, you've seen a couple of videos about former GTS stars who won't be back on GTS Wrestling anytime soon, for various reasons such as working for another company, overbooking, personal issue, or simply retiring from pro wrestling, and etc. There are several wrestlers and stars that I have mentioned in the past. In case of any of you who have paid attention to my content, let's check out one of the 5 ex-GTS stars who won't be back on GTS Wrestling ever again. Number 5, Alex Reyes. Alex Reyes is one of the most underused wrestlers on GTS Wrestling because he's forever being known as a jobber next to Drax Mason. He is a 2-time GTS loser belt champion, which proves that he's truly a low Carter for GTS Wrestling. Every video Grim posted on the main channel back in 2017, people didn't like the character of Alex Reyes because number 1, he's boring, and number 2, he won't bring up those views on YouTube. So that's why Grim didn't even bother to push him to the top. Oh, and not to mention that whenever he takes every bump in the GTS ring, he felt like he had a back pain. Like what Grim says, if you can't take a bump, then you shouldn't be wrestling. Here's the funny part. Whenever he jumps with the newly defunct RWA Wrestling, he has no problem with taking a bump on which I believe it's actually Grim's old wrestling ring. Not to mention, in case if you can't watch one of the RWA videos on Dollcat's YouTube channel, which is formerly known as RWA Wrestling Channel, then all of those RWA videos are private, not deleted. For those of you who didn't get to watch one of the RWA videos, too bad! Here's a fun fact. Alex Reyes is a 2-time and inaugural RWA World Champion. You heard it correctly. He went from being a jobber on GTS Wrestling to a main event star on RWA Wrestling. He's much like a version of the modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, folks. After he lost his RWA title for the 2nd time, he disappeared until he came back on GTS Easter Egg Hunt as a surprise participant for Food in the Fridge at Grimomania. Few days later, Grim announced on Twitter that he was released from GTS due to his unprofessional conduct without any wishes for his future endeavors. He was replaced in Food in the Fridge by Slender Dick at Grimomania. Unfortunately, he hasn't been heard or seen on GTS Wrestling for over a year. In that case, we will never hear from that useless jobber again. By the way, he doesn't have a Twitter anymore. Number 4, TJ Marconi. TJ Marconi is one big money jabroni who could be the next man that Vince McMahon wants to hire. And there's one thing you could ever describe what Vince McMahon says. Big sweaty men. Yes, it is. He made his first appearance on Grim's Story Show, which was the video which took place outside of SWF shows, where he confronted Jay Evans, Grim, and few GTS stars about making GTS Wrestling a big mockery out of professional wrestling. Hell, he even said that every GTS stars are not real pro wrestler. Technically, he did make a point, but just like most of the GTS haters who kept saying that every GTS stars who wrestle in the backyard are a bunch of yarders. Well, technically, this was during the warehouse era. Eventually, Grim offered him a challenge to show up at the warehouse and fight against everyone on the GTS roster. About 2 weeks later, he showed up at the warehouse and started attacking several guys in the ring. He immediately got his championship opportunity for the YouTube title when he accepted Jay Evans' challenge. He successfully defeated him to become the YouTube Wrestling Figures Heavyweight Champion, and he only held it for only 1 day. You know what the people say. If anyone who held the title once for only 1 day or less has to be one of the worst champions in history. While he was the YouTube champion, he puts his title on the line under 24/7 rule. At Giant Sack of Feet, many of us never realized that he was pinned by DGDX animation, which he feels like becoming a YouTube champion means nothing to him compared to his SWF heavyweight title run. All of a sudden, many of those GTS stars were shocked that the current YouTube champion was actually the GTX Animation, who is also the worst YouTube champion in GTS history, might I add. While it was still under 24/7 rule, Tony Emerald decided to take advantage by defeating the GTX Animation to win his first YouTube title, and then he decided to end the 24/7 rule. Unfortunately, TJ Marconi was nowhere to be seen on GTS Wrestling, right until he made his sporadic appearance on GTS video, including when he defeated Grimm to win back his SWF heavyweight title, and even when he made his appearance in a video where SWF vs GTS World War took place. It doesn't mean that he's still part of the GTS roster, because it's highly unlikely to see him show up at the backyard, where he would never ever wrestle for Grimm's Toy Show again. Anytime whenever you ask Grimm about whether TJ Marconi will ever show up at GTS Wrestling again, the answer will always be a big fat no. Number 3, IVAR. IVAR, who's one half member of the Viking Raiders, currently wrestling for WWE. The former NXT Tag Team Champions, along with his partner Eric. Wait a minute, that's actually ULFRIC STRONGCLAW. I could have sworn that was IVAR. Let me try this again. ULFRIC STRONGCLAW, who made his debut at Grimmomania as part of the first ever Super Pop Memorial Battle Royal. He also competed at Grimmomania again when he was part of the 6-man scramble match for the Hardcore Championship, which he didn't succeed. At War for the Warehouse, he defeated Matt Castle in a I Quit match and won the Intercontinental Championship. There's nothing much to say, right? Also, does anyone remember that he held the Hardcore title for only a week? Just saying. Way before the end of 2017, ULFRIC was pinned in a triple threat Hardcore title match where the loser leaves GTS for good. 6 months later, he came back to GTS and defeated Prince Akatan by countout. And that's about it, if I could remember what happened to him after that. If I'm not mistaken, he was quietly disappeared from GTS once again. But you can check out one of the newest GTS star, or should I say, one of the most forgettable stars who actually appeared on GTS this year, Nate the Lawyer, who is no longer working for his client, The Prodigy. Number 2, Kid Christian. Kid Christian is one of the most charismatic and high-flying star on GTS Wrestling. Not just that, but also in professional wrestling. He made his debut at War for the Warehouse when he was part of the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship, which was won by ULFRIC STRONGCLAW. And then he wrestled his first single match in GTS by defeating Manabo with an upset victory. At Giant Saga Feet, he accepted Joe Whoop's open challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. Eventually, he successfully defeated him to become the Intercontinental Champion. And then in the following match, he made his first title defense and successfully retained his title when he defeated his best friend from the Indies, Jordan Oliver. He only held it for 42 days, only to lose to The Prodigy at Sucker Slam. Whenever he's on GTS, he's also wrestled for different companies in the East Coast, like SWF and CZW. In case you haven't heard on the social media, the character of Kid Christian will never come back to GTS Wrestling again. However, KC Navarro made his surprise appearance on GTS Wrestling back in March 2018, which was probably his one-time appearance due to his booking schedules for various wrestling shows. In which case, you won't be seeing him on GTS Wrestling anytime soon, because one day he could be coming to ROH, Impact Wrestling, which he actually appeared, NJPW Junior Division, or WWE NXT/205 Live. Or one day, he could be coming back to GTS Wrestling. He's more than welcome to. Number 1, Officer Maxwell Feinstein. He's also famously known as Maxwell Jacob Freeman, or simply MJF. Officer Feinstein first appeared and arrested at Kurt Hawkins' wrestling school, where he appeared at the end of the video and arrested Grimm for coming to Create Pro against his restraining order. Feinstein's next appearance was in the one-on-one battle at Grimmania, where the YouTube title was on the line and he was the referee. Due to his slow counting when Grimm made a pin and fast counting when Kurt made a pin, Kurt Hawkins eventually emerged as the victor and claimed Grimm's YouTube Wrestling Figures Heavyweight Championship belt for himself, thanks to Feinstein's biased officiating. Feinstein appeared to be in the next installment of the feud with Kurt Hawkins as he provoked the obese and was punished by DF, Grimm, and Duhab. He was also one of the clowns who were unmasked and courtesy of GTS Wrestling. He also competed in a match for the Leaked Tape Disc. After that, he wasn't seen on GTS for 3 years because he's been working for many independent shows in the US. Although the major thing that happened this year is when he signed with All Elite Wrestling, AEW, and also became best friends with the American Nightmare, Cody. You can check him out on Being the Elite every Monday. Just so you know, he will always be better than you, and you know it. That's all we got for today, folks. If you haven't seen the couple of videos about GTS stars who will never return to GTS Wrestling, go check it out, folks. And tune in for another video about another 5 ex-GTS stars who won't be back to GTS Wrestling ever again. If there's anyone I didn't mention about who won't be back on GTS Wrestling anytime soon, leave your thoughts and reasons in a comment below. Until then, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, subscribe for more content, and tap that little notification bell so you don't want to miss some daily videos, especially weekly episodes of Wrestling News with a Dude. As always, peace and good day.